Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So it's finally Friday, we're finally here at the weekend, and would you believe it, the markets are looking absolutely outstanding to say the least, specifically as we are really approaching this BTC halving event. It's within 60 to 65 days, so it is really gaining on us. It's going to happen so fast that by the time it happens, the likelihood is something crazy will happen, and before you know it, we'll be on the back end of the halving event, moving forward onto that big bull run that supposedly happens every time. I say supposedly, we can see that this happens historically on the charts, and historically they've got bigger and bigger each time. So some people are saying like $250,000 per Bitcoin, which would just be absolutely insane because the prices of everything else that would run with that are going to be outstanding. Now, as a lot of you probably know, the Chapter 11 bankruptcy first motion hearings, the audio is available online. I have been listening to the audio for probably about 2-3 days now, just going through it and clipping different things out, what caught my interest and realistically made me start asking questions. And I think there's a lot in there. Now, what I'm going to do is leave links to this, because what you're about to hear is not so much taken out of context, but it's clipped from 2 hours worth of audio. So do go and have a listen to the audio if you've got time, if you're into this sort of thing and you like the idea of trying to unravel this substantial mystery that we're definitely involved in. Because during this court hearing, they specifically mentioned that, it's, there's Luna 2.0, but all of the bad stuff happened with Terra Classic. And I've been saying about this is an eventuality that is becoming more and more realized as time goes on. And you really get a good angle as to how this is all going to be used in the courts moving forward, right? It's all very interesting. So like I said, everything here has been clipped from what you're seeing here on the screen. I'm going to leave links to it in the description. Other than that, you're not going to hear from me again in this video, thank goodness, right? I know, too much of my voice. But do leave a comment, drop a like on the way out. That really does help. Subscribe if you haven't already. Links to the Patreon below. We've got all sorts of different things we're working on in there, indicators and all sorts of different portfolio updates. There's a lot to gain in there. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in getting involved in sort of a community that's looking to make gains, that could be a place for you. Other than that, do get involved in the competition. 10,000 USTC every month, 1 million LUNC every month, split between the top 3 commenters. Do get involved. Other than that, you guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and enjoy the content.
They filed for bankruptcy. And then, Your Honor, I'd like to highlight for the court some concerns that we have regarding the bankruptcy case. Your Honor, as Ms. Berkovich has noted, the SEC sued the debtor and its former CEO in the Southern District of New York, alleging the debtor offered and sold unregistered securities and engaged in a fraudulent scheme that led to the loss of $40 billion in market value. Your Honor, we do have a bit more detail that may be helpful to the court in addressing some of the relief that the debtors seek today, and we do have some concerns about the relief being sought today, specifically the Treasury Management motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll turn it over to my colleagues.
Very good.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I'll try and be brief and not go over too much of what was already discussed, but try and highlight some things that we think are of particular importance, as well as provide some additional concerns that we have about aspects of this or about that SEC case that may impact the bankruptcy case. It is previously discussed on December 28, 2023, Judge Rakoff in the Southern District of New York agreed with the SEC and held that as a matter of law, Terraform engaged in unregistered offers and sales of what the debtors have described as Luna Classic, or their original Luna tokens, as well as another token, MIR, which are securities. In that action, what is pending for trial at the end of March, the SEC also alleged that defendants violated the anti-fraud provisions of the Securities and Exchange Act. the SEC alleged two different frauds. The first fraud is that defendants allegedly fraudulently told people that their blockchain was used to settle real-world transactions. It was not. And the second fraud is that defendants allegedly told people that another one of their tokens called UST, which is supposed to equal $1, and was pegged to the US dollar by an automated algorithm when it was not. Judge Rakoff has described the SEC's evidence as compelling and damning. And without going and repeating too much about the case, I also wanted to mention that the SEC has concerns about Terraform's business, and particularly the use of Luna 2.0. As noted, Judge Rakoff found Terraform liable for violating the Securities Act for unregistered offers and sales of their original Luna tokens, or Luna Classic. When Luna Classic collapsed in May of 2022, Terraform and Dopon created new Luna tokens known as Luna 2.0, which it currently holds a significant sum of according to the debtor's filings. Just like Luna Classic, Luna 2.0 appears to derive value from the use of the blockchain. Moreover, in accordance with the debtor's filings, the success of Luna 2.0 will be tied to the debtor's success. But the debtors say in its papers that it is not currently issuing or selling crypto assets for value. The business they seek to reorganize as may not be in compliance with the securities laws, as it appears to us that they are seeking to replicate the business for which the district court found violative of the federal securities laws by trying to fund its operations for years with Luna.
And I know the debtor doesn't want that happening either. And the other thing is, Your Honor, and we're still exploring this a bit, is that Moon Rabbit, is not what I would call a true third party. It is owned by one of the officers of the debtor. And it's been represented to us what the flat fee is that they receive every month. And we'll gain some comfort with that again, Your Honor, when we see the transfers as they occur back and forth to Moon Rabbit. The Denton's fee advance, again, that is something we've requested information about. I understand it's covered by a letter agreement, which we've requested, so we can see, because one of our first questions was, well, how do we know that Denton's is really going to go pay that bill if you ask them to go pay that bill? And so, the retainers can be a tricky thing. Law firms can take different positions vis-a-vis a retainer that they've received and whether or not it's still debtor's money or their money. And I think that one of the last ones, and I do apologize to debtors. This just recently came to our attention as we were getting ready to come over here. If you look on Exhibit D with the wallets that are listed, number 21 says Hex Trust Account. And debtors had advised us that this was frozen. And we're not exactly sure what's in there. I think they told us was Bitcoin, but we have read about there being an entity out there called Hex, and the founder of the company, who seems to go by two names, is in a lot of trouble with different authorities, and everything got froze.
There's a lot of that going around.
It's for value. The SEC's action does involve TFL's sale of tokens years ago, but not its current activities. And TFL is not and has never been a trading platform for digital currencies like FTX, for example.
In addition, I will say that there are some other components of relief that are intended to facilitate the debtor's continued access to funds or access to additional funds. And these components include the ability to continue to use Moon Rabbit as effectively a digital asset converter, so that we can convert digital assets to
fiat currency as necessary.
Exactly. There's also the additional component of the language we built in addressing the Denton's fee advance. I want to respond to just 3 points for purposes of clarity. The first is we are trying to be as transparent as possible, which hopefully you could tell from the papers that we filed. But we are also, as you're probably experienced with this, balancing safety and security concerns, especially given the online and digital nature of the business and the transactions that are being conducted. And so I just want to reiterate that we will need assurances from the United States Trustee's Office that if we do provide highly sensitive information that may impact the security of the company, including its accounts, that information will be kept highly confidential.